Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming SCS exams happening in August 2025. My name is Nicholas and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for SCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. First things first, I'm going to share some insights taken from your exam blueprint, thereby highlighting what the examiner intends you to achieve in the upcoming weeks. And then I will be focusing your attention towards sharing some tips with you to make sure that you stand a chance to boost your confidence in the upcoming weeks leading up to the examination. Some of you might be experiencing exam jitters by now. Some of you might be panicking already, thinking that you don't have enough time. That is not the case. You have enough and more time at your disposal. If you're dedicated and if you're disciplined, you can achieve everything in the upcoming 4 to 5 weeks. So there's nothing to worry. So with this in mind, I will be sharing some tips which will essentially boost your confidence. And at the same time, I will be most importantly teaching you stress management techniques. In the last week's webinar, I taught you answering and time management techniques. So in this webinar, as I promised last week, I will be sharing stress management techniques as well. And from today onwards, whenever you are attempting a mock exam, you are supposed to practice your answering, time management, as well as stress management techniques. So before we get into the technicalities, let me quickly remind you of the workshop series, which we are kickstarting next Saturday at the same time, 9 GMT or 10 AM UK, in which I'm going to direct your attention towards your F3 syllabus. And also, I will be taking you through one of the mock exams, thereby explaining how to tackle a question to do with your concern or focused on your F3 syllabus. So similarly, I will be conducting workshops focused on your P3 and E3 syllabi as well. And in each of these workshops, I will be conducting a Q&A. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can always get them addressed instantaneously by attending these workshops live. And in the final workshop, which happens 2 or 3 days before your examination, I will be sharing last minute tips with you to make sure that you are capable of walking into the exam with a high level of positivity, with a high level of open-mindedness, because if you do so, then you will pass this exam comfortably. So please attend these workshops, which we have scheduled for you, which are happening on a weekly basis towards the weekend. Get in touch with us free of charge, which is the best way to get your questions addressed and at the same time keep tabs about your performance on a weekly basis. So having said that, let's try to figure out what your examiner tells you. And I've taken these screenshots from the exam blueprint. So first things first, let's try to understand what good answers are. So good answers require relevance to the requirement. So this is the most important element when it comes to developing your answers. Before you invest some time to plan out your answer or to develop your answer or to structure your answer, you need to make sure that you gain an in-depth understanding of the exact requirement. If not, you will end up developing an answer. But if your answer is not aligned with the requirement, you are not going to get any marks at your examination. So in last week's webinar, when I was teaching you answering technique, I highlighted the fact that before developing an answer plan, you are supposed to reiterate each requirement in your own words in a concise manner with the intention of achieving two objectives. So simplifying the requirement, the first objective of simplifying the requirement is to gain a clear understanding of each requirement. And the second objective is to make sure that you have a simplified requirement at your disposal, which makes it easy for you when it comes to developing the answer plan. So whilst developing the answer plan, you can easily refer back to a simplified requirement and check whether you are developing your answer which is 100% aligned with the requirement. So that's why I taught these things in last week's webinar. So for instance, if you look at the first subtask taken from our mock exam 1, it goes as explain the financial analyst's comments regarding the investment in data analytics technology to support the proposed SaaS business model or software as a service model. So you are supposed to simplify the requirement with the prime intention of gaining a clear understanding of each requirement. That's exactly what you can see within our answer plans. So FA's comments investing on data analytics technology. So when you have this type of a simplified requirement at your disposal, your life becomes easy when it comes to structuring your answer, and at the same time you are listening to the CIMA examiner, thereby making sure that you are developing answers which are fully relevant to the requirement at hand. So that's the first part which you need to achieve. So I've taught you how to achieve just that. And looking at the second and third points, if you're to develop good answers, you need to show to the marker that you possess an appropriate level of technical knowledge. Not just technical knowledge, you should show to the marker that you are comfortable with applying this knowledge when developing answers. So as I mentioned in last week's webinar, it's essential that you gain a clear understanding of each syllabus areas which are tested at your examination. So your syllabus is vast. So this examination, as I mentioned via the webinar series, this examination is E3 heavy, but that does not mean that you should leave out your P3 and F3 elements. Instead, you have to be conversant about all syllabus areas which are covered under your E3, F3, and P3 syllabi. So when it comes to E3, everything to do with strategy, evaluation, and formulation will be tested.
What side are we going?
Give me a second, please.
Where is the kid?
Okay, sorry about that. So someone's mic was on. I was talking about the syllabus areas which can be tested. So with regards to E3, board responsibilities will definitely be tested along with corporate governance and ethics. You should have the capability of recommending decisions or conducting evaluations with regards to ethical business practices. Then your knowledge pertinent to finance strategy will definitely be tested. So everything which is highlighted within your F3 syllabus will be tested. And with regards to P3, risk identification and mitigation. So you have to be conversant with the existing risks which appear within your company's risk report. Give me a second, please. Still this individual's mic is on. Okay, sorry about that. So your knowledge pertinent to what is highlighted within your risk report, along with any type of shortcomings, concerning your risk report, because as I mentioned in the second webinar pre-scene analysis, I mentioned the fact that there are shortcomings within the risk report of Leothayre. So you have to be conversant about the shortcomings and the type of enhancements you need to recommend at your examination. And also your knowledge pertinent to internal audit responsibilities and internal controls will be tested. So you need to be conversant with all these theoretical elements. And on top of that, just knowing your theories won't help. You need to understand how each syllabus area can be tested at the exam. So that's why you need to really focus your attention towards improving your application skills. Because as opposed to the MCS exam, the SCS exam is application heavy. 80% of the time, your knowledge pertinent to application skills will be tested. However, when you are working on your application skills, you need to really focus on how you should bring in theoretical concepts when developing answers with the intention of gaining the most amount of marks. So that is why you need to make up your mind to attempt 6 mock exams, which are intended to cover the entire syllabus. So we have developed 6 mock exams with varying themes. And when you go through these mock exams, you will understand how your knowledge can be tested in a practical manner. And at the same time, you will understand what type of application the examiner is talking about. So the first mock exam is focused on licensing scenario, which is also connected with intellectual property. And the second mock exam is focused on an acquisition drive where we try to acquire a smaller company. And the third mock is focused on software as a service diversification, because that's a prominent theme which can be tested at your exam, since it's mentioned within one of the news articles which appear within your pre-scene. And another theme is tied to satellite failure. Again, this is highlighted within your news within one of your newspaper articles which appear within the pre-seen document. And the fifth mock is focused on regulatory changes, especially focused on the SJC or the Space Junk Charter, again, which is highlighted within one of the news articles. And the sixth mock is focused on an expansion imperative, in which we are trying to expand our operations to another country. And on top of that, we have also developed a seventh mock exam, although we have promised 6 mock exams. We have developed 7, and the theme is a buy side and sell side merger or acquisition. So I've evaluated both elements in which we are pushing for a merger or an acquisition, and at the same time we are some other company, a larger company, is trying to acquire us. So I've considered both these angles with the intention of making sure that you are capable of conducting your preparations in the most holistic manner before walking into your examination. So as the examiner has highlighted, you need to learn all theoretical areas, and at the same time, when developing answers, you need to work on application skills. And in order to gain the most amount of marks, whenever necessary, you need to bring in or include theoretical concepts or conceptual knowledge when developing your answers. So in last week's webinar, when I was teaching you answering techniques, I explained how we are supposed to achieve this. So gain access to the mock exams and then watch the master classes, because in each masterclass, just like how I conducted last week's session, in each masterclass, we have taken you through the logic behind each answer, and at the same time taught you the syllabus area covered in each and every mock exam. Also, we have explained how to work on application. So, if you watch the master classes, you can easily fulfill these 2 requirements, because then you'd learn all theoretical concepts, and at the same time, you will understand how to work on application skills. And when at the examination, you are supposed to, when conducting your preparations, rather, you are supposed to provide or develop well-structured answers. So that is where our answering technique comes into play. I've mentioned in last week's webinar that you need to dedicate something like 30 minutes in each section to develop something called an answer plan or an answer structure or an answer summary. So that's exactly what the examiner intends you to achieve as well. So if you practice our answering technique whenever you are attempting a mock exam, and after attempting each mock exam, if you take steps to conduct revision, which is to redevelop answer plans, then you will carry the capability of developing well-structured answers at your real examination. And the examiner expects you to present your final answer in paragraphs. So in last week's webinar, again, I highlighted this. I mentioned the fact that you are supposed to develop answers in paragraphs. So your final answer should look like this. So your answer plan should look something like this, but your final answer should look something like this, in which I mentioned the fact that per answer point, you need to develop a paragraph which consists of 2 to 4 line sentences. So that's exactly what you can see here. And that's exactly what the examiner expects from you at the examination. And whenever you are presenting some type of an argument, you need to back it up with an appropriate justification. So when you are recommending something, please don't simply state the recommendation. Always back it up with appropriate justifications. So if you are recommending something, always say, okay, I'm recommending this because these points. Okay, so when you're doing this, you are taking steps to provide justified arguments. When this is the case, you will get extremely good marks at your real examination. So these are the things which you need to achieve in order to develop good answers. Then let's try to figure out what the examiner expects you to achieve before the exam. You are supposed to study all areas of the syllabus. So that's exactly why I said that you need to attempt all the mock exams which we have developed. Then you will understand how each syllabus area is tested. If you are planning to pass this case study by attempting just 2 or 3 mock exams, then you will definitely be testing your luck at your real examination. Because if you had referred to past exam variants or past papers, you would have encountered 6 different variants or 6 different papers being developed for each pre-seen. Why 6 variants? Because the examiner intends to cover all syllabus areas when developing these exam papers. So when developing these papers, since the examiner intends to achieve all syllabus area, the examiner is forced to develop 6 different variants. If not, the examiner cannot cover all syllabus areas. So when conducting your preparations, you need to mirror a similar approach, a similar methodology. That's why you have to make up your mind to attempt 6 mock exams or all 7 mock exams which we have developed. If not, you will be testing your luck at your real examination. So you have to be conversant with how each syllabus area can be tested at your exam when conducting preparations. And also, you need to utilize the theoretical knowledge which we have gained via these various different modules or theoretical concepts and apply them to the scenario at hand. So as I mentioned in last week's webinar, via the pre-seen document, the examiner is sharing information about what has happened within your company and its industry concerning its history. However, at the examination, present or current information will be shared with you. So present information will be a bit different to what appears within the pre-seen, because when sharing information, some novel information with you, the examiner will highlight some type of an opportunity the company tries to exploit, and at the same time, the examiner will highlight some type of an issue the company is facing at the moment. So when developing your answers, your job is to develop answers which are 100% aligned with the unseen information. So that is why I mentioned the fact that there's absolutely no point of bringing in irrelevant or generic pre-seen info and including them within your answers, because if you try to do so, you are not going to get any marks. When marking papers, I've seen this. Some students in the first paragraph of each section, they will say, okay, Leothayre is into this business, we are operating in this industry, we have this amount of directors and whatnot, we have achieved this amount of revenue in the past year, which is absolutely, including this type of information makes absolutely no sense if the question is about risk management. So if the question is about risk management, you are supposed to consider the information presented in each unseen and related to it, conduct risk identification methodology, and then come up with, after identifying the risks, you need to categorize them. After categorizing them as per the TARA framework, then you have to come up with appropriate mitigatory strategies. So that's how you're supposed to approach such a question, rather than including irrelevant information or generic information which you have brought from the pre-seen. So it's all about application. If you don't take steps to improve your application skills, then you will get extremely low marks at this examination. So as I mentioned earlier, the best way to learn application is to watch the master classes, but your preparation should not stop there. After learning application skills, then you are supposed to test your knowledge. You have to see whether you are capable of developing answer plans which are akin to TCSs. That's why you need to conduct revision, thereby taking steps to redevelop answer plans. I explained all these things in last week's webinar, so if you missed it, please go watch the recorded version, which you can access via our student dashboard or our YouTube handle. So it's all about application. So learn application via the master classes and then practice application by redeveloping answer plans. And when it comes to attempting mock exams before the exam, you are supposed to practice tasks, thereby typing or writing full answers. So what are full answers? When attempting each mock exam, the examiner expects you to attempt full exam type mock exams. So what are full exam type mock exams? If you look at this mock exam, just like in your real exam, this mock consists of 3 different sections. And in each section, there are 2 or 3 subtasks. And the time allocation for each section is 60 minutes. So when attempting mock exams, you have to take steps to attempt full mock exams, not mini mock exams, because some providers share mini mocks with you, where they share parts of these sections in isolation. But so when you have access to these type of mini mocks, what happens is you won't struggle when attempting mock exams, because you would be totally comfortable, because you are supposed to sit in one place for 60 minutes and then attempt one single section. After you have attempted it, then you can take a break and focus your attention towards section 2 and then move on to section number 3. But at the examination, you have to sit in one place across 180 minutes for 3 hours and attempt all 3 sections one after the other without any breaks in between sections. So when you are attempting mock exams under exam conditions, you would have understood that you are somewhat comfortable with section number 1, but by the time you are in section number 2, you will experience some type of fatigue. Fatigue leads to stress. And by the time you are in section number 3, your brain is asking you to give up because you are so tired. And when you're tired, you become stressed. When you are stressed, you become emotional. When you become emotional, you'd experience something called brain freeze. When this is the case, there's a tendency for you to give up your mock attempt. So it's good that you're facing, I want you to face all these problems which I mentioned right now when attempting mock exams, rather than facing these problems for the first time at your real examination. Because when you face these problems or complexities right now, then you know for a fact you are experiencing them, and then you'd work out strategies to overcome them. So with the intention of making sure that you stand a chance to avoid all these problems, we have already taught you answering and time management techniques. And in today's webinar, towards the very end, I will be explaining or teaching you stress management techniques as well. That's why I want you guys to attempt mocks under real exam conditions. And when doing so, I want you guys to practice answering, time management, and stress management techniques. If you practice these 3 techniques, you will be extremely comfortable at your real examination. You will know whenever you feel fatigue, you will know what to do. Whenever you feel stressed, you will know what to do. And if you take this, if you adhere to this guidance, then you can avoid brain freeze or moments in which you cannot think. You are supposed to think something, but nothing comes into your head. You can avoid these type of situations if you stick to the stress management techniques, which I'm going to teach you in a little while. So that's why the examiner wants you to practice tasks by typing or writing full answers. So whenever attempting a mock exam, keep away 3 hours of your time, sit in one place across 3 hours, and attempt all 3 sections one after the other, just like in your real examination, which is the best way to master your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. So before the exam, in a nutshell, before the exam, your job is to improve your theory knowledge, application skills, and answering, time management, and stress management. Because as I mentioned in the second and first webinars, the examiner is not just testing your theory knowledge and application. The examiner is also testing whether you are capable of managing stressful situations, because this is the final paper, final hurdle which you need to clear to become a management accountant. So when you become a management accountant, some fine day you will become a board member or you will start running your own business. When doing so, you will be exposed to stressful situations. So however much knowledgeable you are, if you're not capable of managing stressful situations, then you are not poised to become a good management accountant. You do not deserve to become a management accountant. So, most students end up failing this examination because they don't know how to manage stressful situations. So in order to manage stressful situations, first things first, you need to encounter stressful situations when conducting preparations. Then you will know how to manage these stresses. If so, you will be extremely comfortable during your examination. So these are the things which you need to achieve before the exam. That's why you need to attempt all mock exams under exam conditions. And after you have attempted each mock exam, focus your attention towards improving your theory knowledge and application. If you want, you can invest on the master classes. After you have invested on the master classes, then take steps to conduct revision, which is to redevelop answer plans on your own. So these are the things which you need to do before the exam. And during the exam, you are supposed to plan your answers. So that's why we taught you this answering technique. So the examiner wants you, I'm not saying this, the examiner wants you to develop answer plans, or plan out your answers. So if you are to comfortably plan answers at your real examination, you need to take steps to practice your answering technique. So that's why I said that you must attempt all mock exams under exam conditions. thereby taking steps to practice your answering technique. And at the same time, when conducting revision, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans. When you are redeveloping answer plans, again, you are working on your answering technique. And if you are capable of developing answer plans within just 30 minutes at your examination, you need not worry about your outcome. You will surely pass this examination. And the mark is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merits. So the examiner is looking, or the marker rather, is looking at the quality of your answer, not the quantity. So that's exactly why I said that you are supposed to stick to our answering technique, which is, in a nutshell, to understand how much marks are allocated for each and every subtask by looking at the weightages provided. By looking at these weightages, you can determine mark allocations. After determining mark allocations, then stipulate how many points you need to include in each subtask. Then start developing your answer plan. Once you have developed the answer plan, when it comes to typing, in the last 20 to 25 minutes of each section, expand the answer plan in paragraph form, thereby developing a paragraph per answer point. So keep repeating this technique over and over when attempting mock exams. If so, you are taking steps to develop answers which are 100% aligned with mark allocations. Therefore, your answer will not be too short or too long. Instead, your answer will be 100% aligned with mark allocations. If so, you'd gain the most amount of marks. So if you stick to this technique, you will not run out of time as well, because most students, they try to type everything under the sun when they are attempting a subtask which they are comfortable with. And when you do so, you end up running out of time. For instance, if you are comfortable with subtask A, you will spend a lot of time on subtask A, and when it comes to developing the answer for subtask B, you will definitely run out of time. So in order to avoid all these things, stick to the answering technique which we have taught in last week's webinar. And if you are capable of fine-tuning your answering technique, you will never run out of time. You can avoid stressful situations, and if so, you will develop well-structured, high-quality answers which are totally aligned with each requirement. And if so, you'd gain extremely good marks at your upcoming exam. So these are the things the examiner wants you to achieve when conducting preparations and as well as during your examination. Okay, so before we move on to the remaining elements of our webinar, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the SCS page. If you're yet to create a free user account, click on this button and do so. Once you have created a free account, you'd gain access to our student dashboard, and click on My Courses, and in front of SCS Free, you'd see an Access Content button. Click on it, and via the Videos tab, you'd gain access to the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops we conduct. And under the Study Material tab, you'd gain access to the SCS syllabus coverage document, the pre-seen mind map, and the answer plan of mock exam 1. Via the mocks tab, you'd gain access to the questions and the suggested answers of mock exam 1. And via the exams tab, you have the opportunity of attempting mock exam 1 in its entirety under exam conditions, thereby giving you the opportunity to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. So if you are yet to attempt SCS Mock 1 via our exam platform, please do so, because we have developed an exam platform which is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system on which you'd attempt your real examination. So you have the chance of practicing your techniques under exam conditions, just like in your real examination, which is the best way to fine-tune your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. So if you're yet to create a free user account, now you know how to do so. And if you are interested in investing on our paid content, please go through the sample material before you do so. And if you're yet to join our SCS WhatsApp group, please click on this button and join it. Via this group, we'll keep you guys informed about the weekly webinar and workshop commencement times and dates. And at the same time, if you have any questions, you can get them answered instantaneously. Also, you can engage with the others, thereby having the opportunity to engage with group learning. And having said that, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. We offer two packages, the Essential course and the Premium course. The Essential course is designed for those who have completed their OTQ examinations. So if you have completed your OTQs, you have already learned your theory. It's simply a matter of improving your application skills. So under the essential course, you have access to the recordings of all webinars and workshops which we conduct on a weekly basis, 6 mock exams with suggested answers. Also, although the website says 6 mock exams, we have actually developed 7 mock exams, thereby covering all syllabus areas concerning your E3, F3, and P3 syllabi. You'd gain access to 4 pre-scene analysis videos. Once you have watched these videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding of what appears within your pre-scene document. You need not try to decrypt pre-scene info. We have done it for you. And also you'd gain access to the annotated pre-scene, the industry and financial analysis slides. So let me quickly show you what these documents look like. So as you can see, we have come up with annotations with the intention of summarizing the entire pre-scene. And at the same time, we have highlighted probable exam scenarios which can be tested. And if and when necessary, we have analyzed the data as well to make sure that you gain a good understanding of what appears within your pre-scene, and also you'd gain an understanding about the type of exam scenarios which can be tested at the exam. And when developing our mock exams, we have made sure to cover all these syllabus areas. And the industry analysis slides are divided into 4 main parts. In the first part, we have defined your industry. In the second and third parts, we have explained about the competitive landscape and the industry trends. And based on what's highlighted within this set of slides concerning industry trends, scenarios will be thrown at you at your real examination. And towards the very end, concerning 2 real-life companies, we have explained how 2 real-life companies, how these real-life companies operate within your chosen industry. And similarly, we have evaluated each financial in depth, yet making sure to keep things simple so that you stand a chance to gain a good understanding of what appears within each financial statement. So we have evaluated the SOPL, the SOFP, the statement of changes in equity, and at the very end, we have conducted a ratio analysis, thereby explaining each ratio with the intention of making sure that you gain an understanding of your company's financial standing against its closest competitor. So you'd gain access to all these resources under the essential course. Also, you'd gain access to the top 20 likely issue slides, which indicate the most probable scenarios which can be tested at the exam. You'd also gain access to a case study familiarization kit. Once you have read through this kit, within 10 to 15 minutes, you stand a chance to gain a good understanding about the technicalities behind your exam. You will also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you were struggling with a certain syllabus area or you had forgotten a certain syllabus area, don't spend time, or don't waste time rather, to go through bulky study texts, your old study notes and whatnot. Simply refer to our concise OTQ revision cards. In a jiffy, you are in a position to brush up your theoretical knowledge. So the essential course is priced at £299. And talking about the premium course, this is designed for those who are coming through the exemption routes and those who had failed the SCS exam previously. So both these sets of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge and issues with application. So with the intention of teaching you theory and making sure that you learn application and you stand a chance to improve your application skills, we have included some additional resources under the premium course as opposed to the essential course. So under the premium course, you'd gain access to the online mock exam platform on which you can attempt all mock exams under exam conditions, which is the best way to master your answering, time management and stress management techniques. You will also receive one-on-one tutor feedback on 2 mock exams, namely mocks 3 and 5. Let me quickly show you the type of feedback on offer at TCS. As you can see, we have evaluated each and every paragraph, each and every point with the intention of highlighting your shortcomings, because the best way to improve is to first understand your shortcomings, and you can achieve just that if you opt for the type of feedback on offer at TCS. So you can see, how we conduct our evaluations or feedback. And at the very end of this document, you'd see the mark allocations on a subtask by subtask basis. And we have also indicated a success rate. By looking at the success rate, you can understand the subtasks in which your performance was substandard. So this student has only achieved 9 marks for this entire mock exam, but ended up getting 84 at the real examination. So, that's why it's important for you to go for feedback this time, especially if you failed in the previous sitting, or if you are coming through an exemption route, because it's essential that you understand your shortcomings, because then you can take steps to overcome them as per the feedback which we provide at TCS. So these are the type of resources on offer under the premium course. And also you'd gain access to the answer plans of all mock exams. You saw what an answer plan looks like. So, by having access to these answer plans, your revision becomes easy, because when conducting revision, rather than you having to go through your study texts to understand theory and then work on application, you can easily practice your theory knowledge and application by redeveloping answer plans. And once you have redeveloped answer plans, simply compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's to further understand your further increase your understanding about your issues when it comes to developing answers. And you can overcome these issues by focusing your attention towards redeveloping answer plans over and over until you are satisfied about the fact that you are capable of developing answer plans which are akin to TCS's. So these resources are on offer via the premium course. And finally, you also gain access to the 15 masterclasses. So focused on mocks 2 to 6, we have developed these masterclasses with the intention of teaching you the logic behind each answer, and at the same time to teach you the theoretical concepts covered within each of our mock exams, also to teach you application skills. So the best way to learn theory and application is to watch the masterclasses. So if you want to understand how we conduct our masterclasses, simply watch last week's webinar. After teaching you answering and time management techniques, I took you through one of the mock exam questions and answers, thereby explaining how to implement answering and time management techniques. So that's exactly how we have conducted our remaining masterclasses as well. So the premium course is priced at £849, which can be paid in 2 installments of £424 each. Or if you opt to pay in full, you will save £100. If so, the price is just £749. So click on either of these buttons to invest on your preferred course. And let's quickly look at the 8-week SCS 8-week study plan, which is our original study plan, which we released in the first webinar. So some of you are sticking to this study plan. So if you're sticking to this study plan, we are in week number 4. And within this week, you should focus your attention towards mock exam 3. So attempt mock exam 3 under exam conditions via the exam platform, which is the best way to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. Try to give your best shot. Although you don't know how to provide the most accurate type of answers, that's quite all right. The objective of practicing mocks under exam conditions is to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques, and also to encounter the type of problems you'd face under exam conditions. And once you have experienced all these things and practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques, then watch the masterclasses to learn theory and improve your application skills. Then take steps to redevelop answer plans, which is to revise your knowledge, thereby taking steps to make sure that you are improving your answering technique. And after doing so, you will receive tutor feedback within 72 hours as well. So then you can refer to tutor feedback and figure out the subtasks in which your performance was subpar, and focused on these subtasks, again, redevelop answer plans once more. All right, so that's what you need to achieve within this week. Thereby, you are supposed to attempt mock number 3, watch masterclasses, and conduct revision focused on the same mock exam. If you do so, then next week, it's simply a matter of focusing your attention towards mock number 4. Okay, so that's what we offer. And having said that, let's move on to the second part of today's webinar, in which I'm going to share some tips with you to boost your confidence. So first things first, the most important thing which you need to do is to stick to our study plan. And you can watch the recorded version of webinar number 1, in which I've explained the study plan in its entirety, but you can avoid watching it as well, because if you want, DM me via WhatsApp. I will share a study plan with you. If you are yet to start preparations, you still have time. I will come up with a personalized study plan and share it with you. So simply DM me via WhatsApp. And it's essential that you stick to your study plan. It could be the original 8-week study plan, or it could be a 5-week or 4-week study plan. Still, it comes down to the sticking to the study plan which I share with you. Because if you stick to the study plan, you are not trying to do everything under the sun. Instead, you are focused on attempting the mock exams, watching the master classes to learn theory and improve application, and redeveloping answer plans. These are the 3 steps which you need to do, focused on each mock exam in order to pass this examination. There's absolutely no point of you trying to learn theory on your own and then trying to work out application. That is never going to work, because it works, but you need a lot of time. You don't have enough time at your disposal to learn theory and then figure out application on your own. That is why we have developed the master classes. So stick to the study process. If you do so, it's simply a matter of sticking to a 3-step process focused on each mock exam, which is to attempt a mock under exam conditions to fine-tune your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. Once you have practiced these techniques, watch master classes to learn theory and improve application, and then test your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans focused on the same mock exam. And it's essential that you do this, you stick to the study plan, because if you do so, by the time you are in mock number 3 or 4, you will see a significant improvement in your time management as well as answering technique. Also, you will understand the fact that you have learned theory better than what you have learned previously, and at the same time, your application skills have significantly improved. So stick to this process. If you do so, by the time you are walking into the examination, you will feel confident, because you will know for a fact that you have taken steps to improve your skill set. Because when conducting your preparations, the most important element which you need to achieve is to improve your skill set. Because if you take steps to improve your skill set, then definitely you are going to pass this examination. So when you stick to our process, by the time you're done with all mock exams, you will feel confident about yourself. Why? Because you know for a fact that you have taken steps to improve your skill set. So that's the first thing to achieve with regards to developing confidence. And also, it makes sense to stick to a routine. So if you're not sticking to a routine already, try to stick to a routine at least in the upcoming 5 weeks. So it's better to wake up and sleep at a predetermined time. And if you have to wake up and sleep at a predetermined time, if you're struggling to do so, then you have to focus on your daily meal intake as well. Have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner at a predetermined time as well, because when you do so, you will find it easy to fall asleep at a predetermined time. And if you are capable of falling asleep, then you can easily wake up at a predetermined time in the morning as well, because you have to, at least in the upcoming 5 weeks, you have to be calm and composed both mentally and physically. And you can achieve just that if you sleep properly. And in order to manage your sleep cycle, focus on your daily meal intake. So it's essential that you stick to a routine at least in the upcoming 5 weeks to ensure that you are calm and composed before the examination, both mentally and physically. Because if you are calm and composed before the examination, you will definitely be calm and composed during your examination. So if you had done this examination previously, you know what I'm talking about. If you were stressed before the exam, you will be stressed during the examination. However, if you were calm and composed, definitely you will not struggle at your real examination. So that's why I want you to stick to a routine at least in the upcoming 5 weeks. And when practicing mock exams, as I mentioned earlier, your job is to refine your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. So I want you to keep practicing these 3 techniques over and over whenever you are attempting our mock exams. So practice mocks under simulated exam conditions. Even if you have not invested on our mock exams, that's totally fine. Whenever you are attempting mocks which you have access to, stick to this technique which I've taught you in last week's webinar, and which I'm going to teach you in a little while. So attempt each mock exam under exam conditions. If you don't have access to our exam platform, that's quite all right. Simply dedicate 3 hours of your time, sit in one place, avoid all unnecessary disturbances. If you have kids, lock yourself inside a room and attempt a mock exam under exam conditions. Time yourself. Don't take breaks between sections. Instead, sit in one place for 3 hours and attempt the entire mock exam in one go, just like what you do at your real examination. And when doing so, stick to the exam technique routine, which is to dedicate 5 minutes of your time to read the scenario or the unseen, then dedicate 30 minutes of your time to plan, and utilize the remaining 25 minutes of your time to type. So when you are implementing this technique for the first time, although I'm asking you to develop an answer plan within 30 minutes, you will take 40 to 45 minutes. That's quite all right. Keep practicing, because if you do so, by the time you are in mocks 5 and 6, you will understand that you have achieved the capability of developing answer plans within just 30 minutes. If you achieve this capability, and when you know that you have achieved this capability, it leads to a high level of confidence, and this confidence will ensure that you develop answer plans. You are capable of developing answer plans within 30 minutes at your real examination. And if you can achieve this, you will never run out of time. And if you don't run out of time, you are taking steps to avoid stressful situations. And if you take steps to avoid stressful situations, you will get extremely good marks at your examination. So in order to develop confidence in the upcoming weeks, it's all about managing stressful situations and fine-tuning your technique. So in order to do so, stick to the study plan and stick to a routine. And when practicing mock exams, in order to fine-tune your technical elements or answering techniques, stick to our answering technique whenever attempting each mock exam under exam conditions. All right. So having said that, let's try to understand how you should manage your stress levels in the upcoming examination. So before I talk about strategies to manage stress levels, let's try to understand how we human beings encounter stress. So let's try to understand stress first, or what creates the type of stresses we experience on a day-to-day basis. And then let's try to come up with appropriate mitigatory strategies. Okay, so let's look at how our human brain works. So if you are supposed to be involved with rational decision making, just like in your real examination, because at your exam, you are supposed to come up with the best type of evaluations, you are supposed to provide the best type of recommendations. So if you are to function really well at your exam, you have to focus your attention towards being rational at all times. Because if you are to become a good corporate leader, you have to be rational at all instances. There's absolutely no point if you're emotional, because emotional decisions are not the best decisions out there. When you become emotional, you will rush the process, and rushed solutions are not going to be long-lasting solutions. So in order to be rational, you have to think through something called the prefrontal cortex, or the front part of your brain. So at the exam, you are supposed to be rational. If you are to achieve the required level of rationality, you need to start thinking through your prefrontal cortex, or the front part of your brain. So the problem with the prefrontal cortex is you cannot keep using it for extended time periods, because if you look at an average human brain, you can focus on something, or you can utilize your prefrontal cortex for something like 45 to 60 minutes on a stretch. But after some time, after 45 minutes, for instance, most human beings encounter stress. And when you are stressed, the brain is asking you to take a break. So at office, let's assume you are doing something, you are evaluating something on your own. You can focus on something for something like 45 minutes. But after the first 45 minutes are done, your brain will ask you to take a break. When this is the case, you can definitely take a break. You can walk off from your cubicle. If you are into drinking some coffee or tea, you can do so. Or if you can take a cigarette break, if you're into smoking, or if you can have a chat with your friends and do whatever to take a break. And once you have taken a break, then you can focus on doing something in the most rational manner once more. So that's how you'd function at office. But at the examination, when the brain is asking you to take a break, you can't do so because you can't walk off your computer screen. So when this is the case, the brain is asking you to avoid or asking you to take a break. But when you are not taking a break, instead you are trying to fight the stressful situation. That is when you become emotional. So your prefrontal cortex wants to switch off, but you are not letting it switch off. So when you keep fighting it, your brain functions will shift from your prefrontal cortex to a small part of our brain called the amygdala. And when the amygdala is in play, you will experience something called a flight or fight response. So let's try to understand what these two responses are, flight or fight responses. So a flight response is a situation where your brain is asking you to take flight from a stressful situation or take steps to avoid a stressful situation. At the exam, can you do that? You can't. You cannot leave your computer screen. You cannot take a break. So you have to forget about a flight response. Instead, the only other option at your disposal is to go for a fight response. A fight response is a situation where you take steps to fight a stressful situation. But in order to fight a stressful situation, you need to understand how your brain functions. Because if you try to fight a stressful situation when your amygdala is switched on, then you'd experience further levels of stress. Extreme levels of stress leads to panic. Panic leads to brain freeze. Brain freeze is a situation where I'm pretty sure if you had done this exam on the exam conditions previously, you know what I'm talking about. Brain freeze is a situation where you are experiencing a situation where you are supposed to think something, but nothing comes to your head. And when you're experiencing brain freeze, you become extremely emotional. Sometimes you'd start to cry, or sometimes you'd feel extremely cold or extremely hot. Some of you might start sweating profusely, or some of you will start feeling extremely cold during your examination. So all these things happen because you are getting emotional. Why are you getting emotional? Rather than being rational, you are getting emotional. Why are you getting emotional? Because your amygdala is in play. So you have to take steps to make sure that you switch off your amygdala. Without switching off your amygdala, you do not stand a chance of utilizing your prefrontal cortex once more. So the only way to come up with the best type of answers is to be rational. And to be rational, you have to think through your prefrontal cortex. But the problem is you cannot utilize the prefrontal cortex for extended time periods. You can utilize it for 45 to 60 minutes, but beyond that point, if you try to stress yourself too much, stress your prefrontal cortex too much, then brain functions will shift to the amygdala. And when the amygdala is in play, nothing will come to your head. Instead, you'd become emotional. And when you become emotional, you try to finish off the exam as fast as possible. That should not be the case. You have to you fully utilize the 3 hours at your disposal rather than rushing the process. So I'm going to, now you know how you experience stress. Then let's try to figure out what you need to do to avoid stressful situations. And whenever you are feeling stressed, you know the type of steps which you need to take to switch off your amygdala. So first things first, I said that you can utilize your prefrontal cortex for an extended time period for something like 45 minutes. If you look at an average human being, you can extend this time period or your brain capability by meditating. Because if you look at the brain, it is a muscle. Just like you go to a gym and do something for a certain time period to build your muscles, you can build or grow your brain. There's some space inside your skull which enables you to grow the size of your brain. And you can only achieve this by meditating, because that's just like you build a normal muscle. The only way to build your brain capacity or this brain muscle is to focus on meditation. So unless and otherwise you have meditated for something like 15 to 20 years, you do not have the capability of focusing for 2 hours, 3 hours and whatnot. Instead, you can simply utilize your prefrontal cortex at a stretch for something like 45 minutes. And given this shortcoming, what you need to do is you need to stick to our answering technique, because if you do so, you are not trying to overburden your prefrontal cortex. Instead, rather than trying to multitask, you are focusing on one single task, one after the other. So as per our answering technique, you are supposed to dedicate the first 5 minutes of your time in each section to read. So you're not trying to plan when you are reading, you are simply focusing your attention towards reading. So when it comes to reading the unseen, you are supposed to utilize your prefrontal cortex. And then in the second slot, which is 30 minutes of your time, you are supposed to plan your answer. This is when you are supposed to develop the answer plan. Again, when planning out your answer, it's a must that you utilize your prefrontal cortex. But when it comes to typing, since you have already planned out your answer, it's simply a matter of expanding your answer plan. So in the last 20 to 25 minutes of each section, it's as if you are letting your prefrontal cortex to rest. So if you stick to this answering technique, in the first 35 to 40 or 40 to 45 minutes, in the first 40 to 45 minutes, you will be utilizing your prefrontal cortex, and then you are taking a step to you're taking action to take a step back and relax your prefrontal cortex. Why? Because when it comes to typing, there's no thinking involved. It's simply a matter of you already know what to include in your answer because you have already planned out your answer. Then when it comes to typing, it's simply a matter of expanding your answer plan. Yes, when expanding your answer plan, you have to utilize your prefrontal cortex. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to utilize your prefrontal cortex. You should utilize your prefrontal cortex, but you're not training your prefrontal cortex like when you're reading and planning. So if you stick to this technique, you are not overburdening your prefrontal cortex, because if you try to do all these three tasks together, if you try to multitask, especially when you're operating in a time-pressured environment, this leads to fatigue. So the only way to avoid fatigue is to make sure that you stick to this technique. Then you are not multitasking. Instead, you are focusing on reading first, then focusing your attention towards planning. And in these two instances, you have to utilize your prefrontal cortex at full capacity. And when it comes to typing, it's as if you are letting your prefrontal cortex rest for a while. And when you do so towards the last 20 to 25 minutes of each section, when you're taking steps to rest your prefrontal cortex, then you are taking steps to avoid unnecessary stressful situations. So that's the first thing which you need to do. And that's why I want you guys to attempt mocks under exam conditions and practice our answering time management and stress management techniques, because if you do so, you are taking steps to avoid unnecessary stressful situations at your real examination. Even after doing this, still you might encounter stress, especially towards section number 3, because in section number 3, by the time you are in section number 3, you are already done with 120 minutes or 2 hours of your time, and you have already operated under a time pressured environment. You have already implemented answering and time management techniques. So by the time you are in section number 3, definitely you will experience fatigue. When you are fatigued, you will encounter stressful situations. So in section number 3, when marking your papers, I've encountered situations where in the first 2 sections your answers are somewhat okay, but in section number 3, I cannot see a fully fledged answer. I can see a rushed answer. And sometimes I see just the answer plan because you have given up the fight. This happens due to fatigue. So in section number 3, even after sticking to our answering technique, if you're still, feeling stressed, don't worry. Practice this technique, which I'm going to teach you right now. So whenever you feel stressed, always remember that you are feeling stressed because of your amygdala. So take steps to switch off your amygdala. There's absolutely no point of blindly trying to fight a stressful situation. Now you know what leads to stress. That's your amygdala. Take steps to switch off your amygdala. And the only way to switch off your amygdala is to focus on your breathing. So whenever you feel stressed, close your eyes and breathe slowly for 2 minutes. When inhaling, inhale through your nose. And when doing so, count to 3 slowly. And when exhaling, again, exhale, count to 3 slowly and exhale from your mouth. So when inhaling, inhale through your nose. When exhaling, exhale from your mouth. When inhaling, count to 3 slowly. and when exhaling, count to 3 slowly. When you do this for 2 minutes, you definitely, when you do this for 2 minutes, your time is running out. That's quite all right. You might be thinking that I'm asking you to waste 2 minutes of your time, but if you do this technique, it's as if you are gaining some minutes, because without taking steps to switch off your amygdala, if you try to fight a stressful situation, you will experience brain freeze. When you are experiencing brain freeze, you will end up wasting something like 7 to 10 minutes of your time. So rather than wasting 7 to 10 minutes in a section, it's better to invest time to focus on your breathing and therefore to get out of a stressful situation within just 2 minutes. So let me reiterate what you need to do to switch off your amygdala. Close your eyes for 2 minutes. Inhale through your nose, exhale from your mouth. When inhaling, count to 3 slowly. So you are taking a deep breath, and when exhaling, again count to 3 slowly. So you are exhaling over an extended time period. So when you do so, you are taking steps to switch off your amygdala. Then you'd see, you'd feel you will encounter a situation where all your stresses disappear, and at the same time, you are taking steps to be calm and composed. When you are calm and composed, your brain functions will shift back to your prefrontal cortex. So this is the only way to switch off your amygdala. There's absolutely no point of fighting a stressful situation without knowing how to fight such a stressful situation. The only way to fight a stressful situation is to switch off your amygdala. If you do so, then you have the capability of reusing your prefrontal cortex to its maximum capacity. So you have to practice this technique when attempting mock exams today onwards, and on a daily basis. It's best practice for you to practice this technique every day. When you wake up for 2 minutes, and before you go to sleep for 2 minutes, practice this technique. If you do so, you will be capable of implementing this technique in the most successful manner at your real examination. And some students who end up getting extremely good marks, what they do is they stick to this best practice, which is to focus on their breathing for 2 minutes before starting each section. So let's assume you are done with section number 1. Okay, so you are done with section number 1. You have already spent 60 minutes of your time, or the first hour of your examination, and now you are in section number 2. Before reading through section number 2, you will see the timer running out. That's quite all right. Close your eyes and breathe slowly for 2 minutes. Practice what I taught you right now. When you do so, you are taking steps to refresh your brain, or make sure that you are thinking through your prefrontal cortex. So at the beginning of each section, do this to calm yourself down. When you are calm, then you are in a position to utilize your prefrontal cortex in the most successful manner. And you can also, whenever you feel stressed, you can drink some water, but you can only do so if you are allowed to carry a water bottle with you. If you're attempting the exam at home, definitely you can't have a water bottle with you. So you have to forget about having a water bottle. And secondly, in certain examination centers, the invigilators won't let you have a water bottle. So if so, you have to again forget about having a water bottle with you. So the only or the best way to get out of a stressful situation is to simply stick to our answering technique. Then you are not trying to multitask, because you can't multitask when you're operating in a time pressured environment. It will drive you crazy. So stick to our answering technique. Even after sticking to our answering technique, if you feel stressed, then focus on your breathing and get out of a stressful situation. And as I mentioned a while back, before starting each section, focus on your breathing for 2 minutes, calm yourself, recalibrate your brain, make sure that you're capable of utilizing your prefrontal cortex to 100% capacity. If so, you will manage your stress levels and develop holistic answers, well-structured and high-quality answers at your real examination. And in these upcoming 5 weeks, avoid these deflections don't rely on any predictions, because any area can be tested, any scenario can be tested at this examination. I've seen tutors predicting that certain syllabus areas can be tested and certain syllabus areas cannot be tested, which is not going to be the case. What appears within your E3, F3, P3 syllabi, anything from your E3, F3, P3 syllabi can be tested. That's why you have to make up your mind to attempt all the mock exams which we have developed for you. And excessive industry analysis leads to time wastage. So you don't have enough time at your disposal. So when this is the case, there's absolutely no point of you trying to conduct industry analysis on your own. That is why we have shared the industry analysis slides with you. Because always remember, your knowledge is tested based on a fictitious company which operates in a fictitious industry. So there's absolutely no point of trying to figure out how real life companies operate, because nothing concerning these real life companies will be tested at your exam. Everything is down to your pre-seen and the unseen. So, simply go through the industry analysis slides which we have shared with you. Other than that, don't waste any time to conduct your research concerning this industry. And don't utilize past papers, because as I've mentioned throughout this webinar series, these past variants or past papers are based on a totally different pre-seen. And most importantly, if you look at the risk report, it's quite different to that of yours. And if you look at the financial statements, the numbers are quite different. The beta values are different. Everything is different concerning your current pre-seen. And if you compare your current pre-seen with another pre-seen, you'd see major differences. And if you conduct your preparations based on papers which were developed concerning a totally different pre-seen, you will end up wasting a lot of time. So don't waste time. You don't have too much time at your disposal. You have simply 4.5 to 5 weeks. So in these 4.5 to 5 weeks, your job should be to fine-tune your technique, and at the same time understand how each syllabus area can be tested. So the only way to achieve this is to attempt exam standard and pre-seen specific mock exams. And information overload is a problem as well. However much prepared you are, when you are inching closer to the examination, definitely you'd feel that you have not done enough. So because of this, you'd try to go through your past notes or your study texts or attempt various different mock exams. Don't try to overburden yourself, because as I mentioned earlier, your job in these upcoming weeks is to improve your skill set. And if you take steps to improve your skill set, definitely you will pass this examination. So there's absolutely no point of overburdening yourself. I felt this as a student as well, because when I was doing the operational level examinations, I was extremely young. So because of that, and I was involved with self-studies as well. So because I didn't have time to attend classes, I was, working, 20, not 24/7, but I was working something like 12 to 16 hours a day. I was working 6 days a week. I only had my Sundays off. I was working real hard. So because of this, I couldn't attend any classes. And because of that, I had to, learn on my own. And when doing so, I was forced to stick to a study plan. So even after completing the study plan successfully, a day or two before the examination, I always felt that I've not done enough. So I had a tendency of going through study texts and trying to reattempt mock exams once more. So don't do these things. Simply stick to our study plan, because if you do so, that is enough to pass this examination. And overemphasis on the exam blueprint is a problem as well, which again leads to time wastage. You don't have time to go through the entire exam blueprint because we have covered all elements of the exam blueprint via the 4 webinars which we have conducted so far. So simply, stick to what we have learned via these webinars. You need not worry about anything else. In the upcoming weeks, your job is to fine-tune your technique. So do just that. Don't overburden yourself with unnecessary things, or don't try to do too much, because if you stick to a study plan, you can easily pass this examination. And if you're attempting the exam at home, please visit this link and get your bearings with the Pearson VUE system. After today's webinar, I will be sharing this link with you via the WhatsApp group. All right, so we are happy to say that we achieved a 92% pass rate in the previous SCS sitting. and you can, achieve a similar feat if you stick to our study process. So this individual came through the exemption route, failed 4 times previously, but after investing on our resources and, sticking to our study plan, achieved a pass, thereby scoring 92 marks when the pass mark was just 80. So you can achieve the same outcome if you stick to the study plan and not try to overburden yourself. And if you take steps to fine tune your answering, time management, and stress management techniques, and if you conduct revision, thereby taking steps to redevelop answer plans. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to kickstart the Q&A. If you have any questions or concerns, you can switch on your mic and talk, or drop me a message via the chat. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks. So thank you very much for those questions. I hope I addressed everything. And if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. So visit our website and click on the contact button and drop us a message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email during office hours. And if you want, you can email us directly via info@tcs.com, info@study@tcs.com, or WhatsApp us on this number. And I urge you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops are uploaded to our YouTube handle. And via TikTok, you'd gain access to 6 videos, which is a good pre-seen mind map. So from today until your examination, keep watching these TikToks over and over to constantly keep yourself reminded of the most important points highlighted within the pre-seen. Similarly, you can go through this pre-seen mind map as well. We have shared this pre-seen mind map via the WhatsApp group, and you can download this from our student dashboard via free and paid content. So please go through this document as well to remind yourself of the most important points which appear within your pre-seen document. And if you are yet to read the blog post, please visit our website and click on the blog area, and then read this blog post to gain a good understanding of what happens within your chosen industry and your chosen company. And having said that, it brings us to the end of the webinar series. I hope you gained something out of these webinars which we have conducted across the past 4 weeks. And next week, as you know, we are kickstarting our workshop series. I hope you attend them without fail as well. And I expect you to start practicing mock exams if you're yet to. And when doing so, I expect you to practice answering and time management techniques which you learned in last week's webinar, and also to implement stress management techniques from this week onwards when attempting your upcoming mock exams. So thank you very much for joining. I will see you guys next Saturday at 10 a.m. UK or 9 GMT, in which I'm going to conduct your F3 workshop. So thank you for joining. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.